Hello and thanks for checking out ChartGuys.com. We're proud to be one of the most successful technical analysis communities online, teaching you the skills to become a more confident, effective, and informed trader. Join our community of hundreds of analysts worldwide working together to learn the charts, generate profit, and achieve financial independence. For access to daily live chart analysis and market coverage, a thriving chat community, along with dozens of hours of exclusive educational materials. We look forward to seeing you. Let's check out some charts. Everyone checking back in on the MJ sector after taking yesterday off, feeling a little under the weather. Certainly would completely disregard it in a normal time period, but being extra cautious, taking some rest just in case, but feeling much better now and checking in on the sector. So the last video that we did, we were looking at the potential of a top being set and scouting tops, and the bulls said absolutely not, we're going to continue going thanks to the S&P 500. So let's do a little recap. So the recap was the sector started bouncing first. The S&P 500 bounced, then propelled it forward and added some rocket fuel. And today, pre-market, we had the jobs number with a very bullish reaction from the market to it. And that just created a climax kind of day. We have also seen CNBC start pumping the sector again, which was notable yesterday to keep the bull move going. So on a lot of names today, it's looking like the potential climax is being set. I certainly say that with a grain of salt because we need to see bear follow through. And it also looked like that 2 days ago. This looked like a bearish candle after a pretty significant bounce. We need a daily higher low to form, but bulls just kept it alive. We never lost that hourly uptrend. So some of these names have some volume climaxes and some upper wicks, but it depends on the S&P 500 because if we have a green day tomorrow, then the sector bulls can keep things alive. So is this the bottom for the MJ sector? Keeping in mind that the S&P 500 at this rate could drop to a lower low, and I believe a lot of these names would hold their current dump low. We had a scenario where there was a flight from all assets, whether it is metals, equities, MJ sector certainly. The MJ sector had been so beaten down and then just got beat down even more with this news of the coronavirus. And we're now in a scenario where what worse could happen for the MJ sector? And I don't know. I don't have an answer. They're being established as essential businesses to remain open. We're seeing lines and we're seeing huge spikes in demand, and they're selling a lot of product. So we know all that. The question is, can we see sustained follow through? Can we get a daily trend change? Number one, we have tons of space for daily higher lows to form, and a lot of people are going to be looking to enter on daily higher lows. A lot of bulls missed this move. I missed a lot of it. I missed this move because I was being cautious, and I don't look back at that and say, oh, I should have done this or that. If you did get this move, you definitely deserve a round of applause, because to have that kind of guts to step in front of a speeding bear train like that definitely takes a lot of guts, and you are rewarded for that risk. So from here, when we lose the hourly uptrend, and for CGC, that last hourly higher low, trying to form here at the end of the day at 1480. So let's say tomorrow, if we opened up at 1550 and we fail to break the high of today, and then we drop down and break 1480 support, we'll be in an hourly downtrend, and we'll then look for daily consolidation to be underway. And again, there's tons of space for a daily higher low to form compared to $9. Hourly oversold conditions, when looking for a daily higher low, is a good time to be scouting for a bullish entry if looking for that daily higher low. So that's what we're watching in the short term. This bounce, without changing the daily trend, is significant enough to see on the weekly time frame. And at this point, we need a weekly trend change as well. When's the last time CGC gave us a weekly higher low and higher high? We had some little ones back here on this significant 90% bounce. At this point, we're going to top out for a weekly lower high, very likely, unless we can see another 50% move from here. But anything under 2390 is a weekly lower high, and we will have to see the trend change for a notable sentiment shift. Always keeping an eye on what the S&P 500 is doing, but certainly at least the last week plus of trading, the MJ sector has finally seen some fairly consistent bullish correlation to the S&P 500, which we have not seen in a very long time. So notable volume today. Hourly uptrend still intact, but an upper wick telling us it may be the temporary top. APHA had a big green day today. Again, volume climax, keeping an eye out for it. Hourly chart consolidating into the end of the day, trying to set an hourly higher low at 317. And if we lose the hourly uptrend, we look for a daily higher low to form, anything above 195, and that double bottom with a significant bounce. And we'll look for a higher low compared to that level. And again, weekly time frame, just looking for a weekly lower high on this bounce, but very notable the size that we've seen from the bottom. ACB had a big day. They were up 30% plus today. Looks like ACB, there we go. Look at that volume. So we had the highest bull volume of the move yesterday, and we almost doubled it. We did double it today. Massive follow through. Same thing as everybody else. Hourly uptrend is our guide. Higher low of 86. Bulls need to break $1 to see continuation. If we fail $1, and that was a very clear top fishing play, as far as you know there's a lot of resistance on that nice round psychological level, and if you run up to that level very overextended and you're up 30% on the day or whatever it was, it's absolutely worth the risk. You know, if I enter at 9.95 and I put my stop at $1 and half a penny, or $1 and half a penny, I'm risking 1%, and the reward ended up being 13-14%. So that was a nice and clear top fish. Could see that one coming away just in terms of, I was able to post in the chat room before we were even running up to that level. Keep an eye out for a dollar top fish on ACB. But if we lose the hourly uptrend, we zoom out and look for a daily higher low to form. We actually have a short-term support here of 67, which is a little bit of a base above 60. And not many names have that. CGC, APHA, they don't have that little daily higher low in there. So at least it's a support level a bit closer at 67 cents. Cron, daily inverse head and shoulders pattern. Took a while for the bulls to shake off the bearish sentiment with the SEC inquiry and where are the earnings, but it's an inverse head and shoulders. Resistance was 621 and 620, that little double top. The bull break today got a very solid 6-7% to follow through. So again, even if looking at short term, there were some bull opportunities. That being said, at this point, risk to reward does not favor bull opportunities. And I did a little bit of day trading in the sector today, TLRY, which I'll go to in just a second. But my bull trades, there is money to be made in overextended plays on bull trades. You just got to be quick. So here's 634, 633. If we run up and break that level, let's say I buy the break of 634. Let's say I get filled at 635. I then exit half of my position at 640, being extra cautious to have a worst case scenario be a small loss, and then maybe I exit the second half of my position at 655. But again, the point is, when we're overextended, it doesn't mean just, if you're comfortable with day trading, it doesn't mean just give up, I missed the move. It means there are still gains to be had. I just need to be quicker and be happy with those small moves because I'm late to the party. So hourly higher low on Cron, trying to form at the end of the day at 611. So key short-term support for all names is this little hourly higher low at the end of the day. This is a blow off top on TLRY. Huge short squeeze where we went from the low of today was under $6 and we ran up to over $9. So what were we, 60% at one point today? That is absolutely massive. The volume is massive. Upper wick, hourly consolidation, support 725. So I actually played my first option trade in a long time today because I had no other way to short TLRY. And I did make an entry into $10 puts when we were in the 960s, just looking for the volume climax on the 5-minute time frame. And I scaled out on this first 10 minutes of pullback. I wasn't going to stick around and hold that position. And it was a small position because of the risk and reward being so high. But it was a nice little solid 20% win. And then I ended up playing a couple of these bounces. Played a little bounce here. And again, not trying to nail the whole move. I'm not trying to nail the move from 782 to 885. I'm trying to nail 25, 30 cents in between there. So if I enter at, $8, perfectly fine to exit at 825, give me my 3% and go back and look for the next trade. That's the way that I view a move like this. Obviously, if you're in earlier and you're in a swing position, you're holding that and very comfortable. But again, I'm talking about those that are either only day trading or missed the bull move and still want a piece of the action. So at this point, I'd be looking for bearish entries, but again, not fighting the bulls too much. If I'm looking for a bearish entry, it's either a top fish with a very little risk and I get stopped out, and I did make one attempt for an IIPR bearish entry yesterday, and I lost less than $1 on that IIPR position because I had my stop very tight. And had I not had that stop loss set, I would be down now 20%. So have to stay very strict and disciplined with those stop losses. But aggressive bears are looking to try and top fish, and more patient bears are looking for entries on losses of the hourly uptrend. That being said, there's going to be patient bulls waiting, like I said, waiting for the daily higher low. OGI, significant move, upper wick, hourly time frame, higher low is 186, and if we were trading right now and it was middle of the day, we'd be watching for the potential of a head and shoulders here, where if we fail to break the high of 210 and then we roll over and break that support of 186, that's a head and shoulders pattern indicating a shift of momentum away from the bulls and then back to the bears in the short term. Again, just looking for a daily higher low, anything above 147. Hexo, that can't be updated, and it's not. So Hexo, look at that volume. Huge move up. We did have a little daily higher low at 56 cents. Hourly time frame, support is 95. And then if we lose the hourly uptrend, we look for the daily higher low compared to 56 cents, keeping in mind that we're looking at weekly exponential resistance here. Look at this guide over the last bunch of months. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 rejections, and here we are approaching it. And that level right now is 124. Keeping an eye out to see if another rejection from that level is coming. VFF. Very significant bounce. Again, congrats to the ballsy bulls. Volume. Watching for the potential of a climax, but we closed strong. Less of an upper wick than we saw on most names. There's our hourly higher low of 342. Resistance is 375 and $4. If we lose the hourly uptrend, tons of space for a daily higher low to form. Let's say you want a long-term MJ position and you want to hold for years. This low on all these names is a very key and clear level. So let's just use an example of CGC, and then let's close out Canada, then I'll talk about that, then we'll get into the US. So Labs has already topped out. Labs failed to break the high of yesterday, broke the low of yesterday, 220. That tells us daily consolidation is underway. We'll be watching for hourly oversold conditions to scout for the potential of a daily higher low. But right now support is 203, 2 psychological, and then there's a gap at 187. We are looking for a daily higher low to form. There's a little support here at 159. And look at the weekly chart. Just a lower high. So again, big picture, a lot of work to do in the sector, but it's a good start. And VLNS also has not updated. So VLNS keeping its move going, short-term support at 195, hourly support at 219, and again, if we fail 247 and break 219, we are then in an hourly downtrend looking for a daily higher low to form. So that's the Canadian sector. Let's say I want long-term positions. Let's say I don't think CGC is going to break $9 ever again. I am looking to scale in. Let's say I have 3 positions. Let's say we lose a pattern of a higher low every day and we start the clear daily consolidation. Let's say I make one entry at $13 because I don't want to miss the bull move and I want to start with a position, but then I get a little bit more cautious and I have another position set for $11 and then I have another position set for $10 and I then put my stop below $9. I need to use a position size that will allow for that amount of risk because percentage-wise, that's a lot of risk. Let's just say I get my whole position filled and I have an average of $12. Before I stop out, I'm risking 25%. So I need to have a small position where the dollar loss on that 25% is manageable. But I can then put my stop under that level and hope that the worst has hit this sector for now and that the S&P 500 can find a bottom at some point. Again, I don't think, my personal opinion, I don't think that the S&P 500 bottom has to be set for the MJ sector to set its bottoms. Because again, we have the risk of closing these shops is out the window for now, unless things get significantly worse and we start to see more significant changes, and the size of the bounce. So it's worth keeping an eye out for the potential of long-term entries if I want to be even more patient. That's an aggressive bull, looking for a 2-year entry, trying for a daily higher low when we haven't even changed the daily trend. If I want to be a patient bull, I'm waiting for this move to top out wherever it's going to on the weekly, and I'm looking for a weekly higher low to try and make an entry. And it's possible that both the daily and the weekly chart coincide looking for that higher low at the same time. But if I want to be really patient, I wait for a weekly trend change, then make a long-term entry, and then place my stop loss somewhere that makes sense. All different ways. The first thing you need to ask yourself is, do I want a long-term entry? Do I want to be aggressive or conservative? And your answer to that question is going to determine the time frames that you are basing your trade plan off of. Back to USMJ, IIPR. So again, we've gone over 100% at this point with no daily consolidation. I am looking for a bearish entry in IIPR tomorrow. Doesn't mean I'm going to make a trade. It means that's what I'm going to be watching for. It all depends on what the setup is. We have a double top right now at 85.54 and 85.33. If we break 80.82 support without breaking those two levels, it's a double top and a loss of short-term support, and that will increase the odds significantly that daily consolidation is going to be underway. So there's a number of ways I could do this. Let's say we open at 84 tomorrow. I can be an aggressive bull or bear and top fish $86. I would give some wiggle room because we have wide bid and ask spreads on IIPR. If I'm an aggressive bear, I'm going to top fish. If I'm a patient bear, I'm going to wait for a loss of that hourly support, and I'm going to look for the S&P 500 to ideally be consolidating at the same time. If we see a bull break of 85.54, then I may just sit on my hands and patiently wait for things to either get really extended up in the mid-90s or wait for the loss of the hourly uptrend. So it all depends on how the morning starts, but when you see a move like this, you know that without changing that daily trend, we will have to pull back and form a daily high or low. But a very impressive bounce. Weekly resistance is 108.23. I'm watching for a weekly equilibrium on IIPR. Curaleaf. Daily inside bar after the earnings reaction was bearish yesterday. So still a pattern of a higher low every day. We would have to break 493 tomorrow for daily consolidation to be underway. Resistance is 554 and 578. So inside bar likely to break tomorrow. Certainly favoring the bulls with how we closed today. And we'll see if this bounce can continue, keeping in mind we have not changed the daily trend here either. CWeb, massive bounce, no daily trend change, higher low every single day. Hourly support, didn't form a clear hourly higher low. Anything above 603 is an hourly higher low. We have to set a support, head back towards the high, and then we have a new support level to be watching. So if we start tomorrow and pull back to 650, this is still the same hourly consolidation from today into tomorrow, and I would not consider it a loss of the hourly uptrend in that scenario. Massive bounce, no daily trend change yet. TRUL, massive bounce. So TRUL, we've got daily support at 1140, resistance of 1267, double top at this point, more like a triple top, and after that we're looking up to 1296. So this is a more clear support level in the short term than the names that we just looked at have. So that's a key level to be watching. But again, same thing, weekly chart, just looking for a weekly lower high compared to 1473. IAN, potential daily bull flag. Every MJ bull wants to see this setup for daily consolidation. Just going back to CGC as an example, if we pull back from here once we top out and we pull back to 1150, we set up a daily equilibrium as the most likely scenario. But if when we pull back, we only pull back to 1380, we set up the possibility for a daily bull flag. And that's where IAN stands right now. So short-term support of 85, resistance of 103 and 119. Significant bounce, but again, weekly time frame, a lot of work to go in the sector as a whole. CL, solid bounce, bearish candle on the daily, hourly chart still in an uptrend, but a loss of the hourly uptrend has us looking for a daily higher low to form. Low of today will be key support tomorrow, and looks like that was an updated chart as well. So, not sure why TradingView is only giving me some updated charts. Either way, short-term support, trying a bull flag, just like IAN. So support of 398, and the bulls need to break 478 to confirm it. GTII. Significant follow through. We do have a little daily support at 631. Weekly chart. Again, for perspective, the weekly chart is your anti-FOMO as a bull. If you're looking at this daily chart and saying, oh man, I missed this move, I need an entry, I'm entering bullish tomorrow, zoom out to the weekly chart, and that will help with perspective. Plenty of space for a weekly higher low to form, but we don't have a trend change yet on that time frame. And even the daily chart, no real clear trend change either. 952 is resistance after 930. Hourly uptrend still intact. Higher low, 884 most recently. HARV. Wondering why it's all the USMJ names that did not update. HARV has already topped out. Daily consolidation already clearly underway. Looking for a higher low compared to 67 cents. Also, GTII just had earnings reaction after hours right now. So we'll have to see how that earnings reaction goes. But HARV needs to form a higher low compared to 67 cents. We need the hourly trend to change back to the bulls to be confident a daily higher low has been established. And then we have to break 176 to confirm the daily trend change. So congrats to bulls. Looking for temporary tops. Fully admitting I said that 2 days ago and was definitely wrong. As the S&P 500 bulls are seeing significant follow through. S&P 500 is going to help us with clues of when the tops are being set. And right now SPY with a very strong close could see more green tomorrow, which could keep this sector from consolidating just yet, which is why bears need to be patient. They need to have exit plans, but we should see some solid pullbacks. We should see some 10 to 20% pullbacks from these tops just because we ran so hard so fast and didn't establish a ton of support on the way up. We'll look for those pullbacks. So what we're looking for the rest of the spring and into Q2 2020, can we change daily trends? Can we change weekly trends? That's what we care about the most right now. Can weekly change trends? Because we have not seen weekly trends change in a very long time for the bulls. Let's look at USMJ. When's the last time USMJ had weekly uptrends? And the answer is months. Hasn't happened in 2020. And it's going to take a while. It's going to take a while for those weekly trends to change with a higher low, a higher high. All depends on your time frame and your aggressiveness. Are you conservative? Are you aggressive? The gray cloud, the black, stormy, dark cloud has lifted from the sector for now. It's going to get interesting. Weekly trends are the most important for me personally. And I'll see you soon. Have a good rest of your day. You ever had a bear step on your radish sprouts? These big paw prints are from a bear who came and checked out all the bird feeders. Unfortunately, my wild cam wasn't set up yet, but those are all ready to go now, so we'll see if he comes back. He was interested in the bird feeder, and I left this open, so I won't be doing that again. Some beet sprouts are coming up. They took a while to germinate. Really excited for these sugar snap peas. They're one of my favorite spring snacks. They're one of the first things that's ready in the garden, along with radishes. And it's just something great to have while you're working in the garden, to go grab a couple handfuls, and very juicy and sweet and hydrating. So this is from the fall garden that I just kind of gave up on because I was traveling, and some nights it got down into the teens at night and they stayed just fine. So these are arugula that are now bolting and going to flower. So I figured I'll let them do their things for some pollinators. And this kale has just survived in a big way. So definitely going to do a better job with a fall and winter garden in the greenhouse this coming year. But this obviously shows me that these plants can do just fine in this climate. And there's a whole bunch more chickweed. Again, didn't plant it. It just knows right where to go. All my rows of lettuce are coming up. Definitely seeded them thickly, which means I will have to thin them out once they get a little bit bigger. And planted a whole bunch of some of these foreign plants. All kinds of weird spinach and lettuce from around the world. Should be cool to see them grow. Raspberry plant starting to put all its new growth out from its base.